on E because I just got back from being on the road.
Yeah.
And I forgot that I needed to get gas. So when I turned my car on, I was like, fuck. We're coasting all the way here. I have like a green mode on my car. Yeah. And so I was just like, green mode. And I was like, okay, we're not accelerating past like.
You got like your foot out the door, like
yeah.
kicking down the road.
I mean, normally it's pretty good at like, I mean, it's a Mini Cooper, so.
Yeah, it's great on gas.
It really is.
Yeah.
But I always like freak myself out.
The key word there is gas, though. It's great on gas when there's
gas in it.
Right.
Yeah. I'm assuming that I don't know what the difference is between like premium and not premium.
Yeah.
But it takes only premium, so I'm hoping that means there's more miles in the gas. Because otherwise I will be stuck here.
Good news.
I think I have like 5 gallons left, or 5 miles left.
Okay. There's definitely a gas station within 5 miles from here. So that's good news.
For sure. Yeah. That's great news.
And apparently, I guess like premium gas does help your car get a little better gas mileage. Okay. So that's also a win. That is
a win for me.
So you're not going to have to kick too far. We'll come help you push it.
Fred Flintstone. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be actually awesome if your car had a mode where you could just drop the floor out.
It would be.
You're just like scooting like to save gas. Elon Musk should get on that.
He should.
In there with you too. Get everybody's feet on the floor.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like a workout.
Let bachelorette parties hop in and charge them by the hour.
That's a great idea. Just be like, hey, honeys, I need to go to dinner. Do you want to hop in here and
the Flintstone Express, and it just like goes down Broadway, and you hop into like like those baby bounce seats. Yeah. It's like grown humans in that's attached to like a car, and people are just drinking down Broadway but moving the car.
And you could call it Brideshare.
Brideshare.
We should.
That's good.
We should trademark this quick.
I know.
It's recorded, so we got it.
Yeah, we got it.
People would be obsessed with that because they'd be burning calories while they're drinking, which we know bachelorettes love. Fitness, burning calories.
They do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Make up for all the mimosas or whatever they drink.
Yeah. I feel like almost anything on Broadway that has to do with like a bachelorette party becomes like an instant success. Like, I've not seen anything fail yet. It's like a 45-foot long pickup truck that looks like they picked it up out in the middle of nowhere in the woods and just brought it down to Broadway and slapped a sign on it.
Yes. That's what most of them look like. Or like the tractors. It's probably somebody who lives in like Murfreesboro that comes up every weekend just with their tractor that they use for their actual farm maybe and just come up here being like, it's a bachelorette.
It takes them a week to get here.
Yeah.
They start driving Monday and get here and work the weekend. Honestly.
Oh, wow. We really figured it out.
Yeah.
Have you seen the pool one? The one that's a swimming pool?
Okay.
There's a pool.
Yes.
I've seen a hot tub one.
Okay.
There's a pool.
There's a pool one.
No
like
way.
A full
like
length.
it's like a 12-foot pool.
Wow.
Ooh.
I don't know how that's legal.
I was going to say, like,
how
you'd
does
have
that
to.
even work?
You could 100% drown.
I'm sure it's successful, though.
You can 1,000%
You can
drown.
1,000% drown in that. Like, I feel like the waiver you have to sign for that is 20 pages long. Ooh.
I wonder if there's any like swim team bachelor or bachelorette parties that just see that and they're just like so hype and they're just like doing shots and racing each other.
And laps.
This is everything we love.
That's great.
That is gross. The hot tub one is disgusting to me, though.
Yeah.
Just like even the concept, I'm just like, I wouldn't want to do that anyway, even if it was the cleanest. Like, what is there? Ugh.
That just doesn't seem like the vibe.
There's no vibe in sitting in a hot tub driving around town.
Drinking. You know everyone's peeing in there.
For sure.
Yeah, it's just circulating.
How can you not? Oh.
White Claw.
Just White
Claw urine.
And chlorine. Yep. That's my
God. So how's life? How you been?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Shows are starting back up.
I know.
So I just got back from that this weekend. My first, have not really done that many country festivals.
Yeah. How was that?
People are ready to go.
Yeah.
They were,
on
lots
fire.
of funnel cakes and corn dogs and beer.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
I bet it's like just the smell and the energy was probably amazing. It was.
And the bugs. Lots of bugs.
Where'd you play?
Somewhere in Iowa.
Okay.
and somewhere in Oklahoma.
Oh, cool.
So I have not spent much time in those states.
Yeah.
But I will be.
It was just so busy.
It was.
That's awesome, though.
It was. Like, I mean, I haven't really gotten to play many shows in general because when my album came out, it was the beginning of the pandemic. So I actually am like just now learning how to be on the road.
Yeah. What do you think about it so far? Is that your first 2 shows like on the road playing like your album stuff?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane?
It's been circulating for like over a year.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And we're finally getting to do it. And honestly, I've learned that I need to bring a lot more snacks.
Yeah.
On the road. Yes. Because it turns out when you're like going to sort of a place that's in the middle of nowhere, there's a lot of driving and traveling involved.
Right.
And not a lot of food places.
Right.
That aren't drowning in cheese and gravy. So I need to bring, not that there's anything against that. I'm here for it. But
right. But you have to be careful with that stuff, right?
For sure. And it's definitely not like a pre-show kind of meal vibe, you know?
Right.
I don't want to be asleep.
Do you have like a consistent like pre-show kind of snack/meal thing that you go to?
I wish I did, but because I'm so new at this, I'm figuring out what my pre-show. I don't have any like routine yet.
Tequila and grapes.
Yes. No, it's tequila and potato chips. Because those are actually good for your voice. I don't know if anyone knew that.
Potato chips?
Yeah, because of the grease that's on it. It like coats your vocal cords.
Oh my, this is the best news I've had.
This
is great news.
It is. I mean, I loved potato chips before I figured this out anyway. So it just worked out that there was like a vocal teacher or something who was just like, yeah, potato chips are really good before a show. I'm like, already been doing that. So.
Wow. Like standard like potato chips, not like tortilla chips.
No.
Tortilla chips are dry.
They are.
They're good, but they're dry.
Yes. We need greasy Lay's. Like afterwards, you have to wipe your fingers off on a napkin.
This is the best news I've had in a long time. All I needed was one more excuse to just buy nothing but chips at the store and pretty much live on them.
Yep. Welcome.
Ellen's always like, you sure you want to get more chips? I'm like, yeah, because she gets like healthy chips.
What are healthy chips?
Like black bean chips.
Lentil.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they're like a chip, but they're not like
a chip.
Yeah. I need that like I like Snyder's.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big Snyder's fan.
Mm-hmm.
As well as what's the one, the salt and vinegar one that's like from they're like a Boston company or something, I think. Maybe not. Do you know
Please tell me which one, because
I'm a
huge...
Cape Cod chips?
Yes.
Ooh!
Cape Cod.
Yes. Oh, I know. I have 2 bags in my pantry.
Good.
Salt and vinegar.
Good.
And the kettle cooked, like the kettle brand.
Fire.
Just can never go wrong.
I'm just going to, from now on, anytime I ever play a show or sing at my house, I'm just going to eat a bunch of chips. Yeah. I was going to be like, what are you doing?
Be like, well, it's for the health of my throat and for the value of this performance.
Yeah, I'm just watching out for my vocal cords.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That is awesome. Wow. That was great.
So, I mean, I'm sure that I'll have to add more to my diet before I go on stage, but for now it's tequila and potato chips.
That sounds like a great win. I like that. I might steal that.
Do it.
Give it a shot.
It's been working so far, and by that I mean for all 2 days that I've played.
Yeah.
So
so far, so good. That's great.
Yep. Yeah.
That's awesome. So when I first heard your music, I had just come off the show, and my producer and friend Josh Barker at the time was like, "You got to hear this girl," and I think you'd only put out a single at this point or something.
Yeah, I would put a song out at a time, like in between like a 5-month period of time.
Was it? Did you put out More Hearts Than Mine? Was that like one of the first singles, or was that on the?
I think I put out Ladylike first,
Ladylike.
But then like 2 months later, I put out More Hearts Than Mine.
That's the one I heard. That was the first one I heard, and I was like, "Oh my god! Like this is so good! Like that song is like amazing."
Thank you.
Like everything about it's so good.
Thank you.
I bet when you like finished that song, did you just have this moment of like, this is gonna be like a big one?
I feel like every time I think back to when we wrote it, just because I started off as a songwriter first before an artist, I knew when we were done writing it, it was a really well written song, just based on, learning how to songwrite in Nashville. You kind of know when you've like hit the target or when you haven't, you know, the good old country twist.
Right.
So I knew that we had nailed that.
Yeah.
But I didn't think, like, because I was so specific to me and my family, and I kind of thought that I was almost too specific and that not everybody could relate to the situation. And I was so wrong. That was like the most wrong I've ever been.
Oh, it was awesome. I feel like all your music though, like does that though. It makes it relatable. Even to me, I'm a guy. I'm like, I'm a lady. Like, well,
yeah, you are. Yeah.
It's so good though. And, your whole album is like really good.
Yeah, I've found that the more specific you are, I think people actually hear themselves more, unless, you know, you're talking about something weird. But I feel like most of the time people want to be able to hear themselves in a song. And so if you're just really broad, it feels less personal. Yeah. So, and I didn't do that on purpose. It's almost like me just needing to vent about my life. And it just so happens that other people can relate, and that is an awesome thing about songwriting. Yeah,
that is awesome. When you played your first show, like, you know, you just said you just got the tour using like the album and stuff. When you played this show, were people like singing it back to you?
Yes, which is so crazy.
Was that the first time you've like had that?
I mean, it started a little bit after More Hearts Than Mine was put to radio, country radio. But as far as like people knowing words to other songs on the album, this is like the first time that I've seen that, because the album wasn't out when I was playing shows before. Yeah. So yeah, even this past weekend, me playing like what I call the deep cuts on my album, because I'm like, these aren't ever going to be on radio. They're just for me, basically. Right. But then seeing people know the song, I was just kind of like, oh, cool. Like, this is how it's supposed to go. Like, I forgot that people will actually take the time, because I don't take the time to memorize lyrics of other people's songs, really. Right. I'm so bad at it. Right. Like, if I didn't write it, which sounds so, like, terrible, but it's hard for my brain to memorize things that I didn't write.
I'm the same way. And I have to listen to it, like, if I want to memorize it, like, a billion times. Yes. My sister can, like, listen to it, like, once, and she, like, knows it. And I'm like, how? Like, I don't get it. It's not fair. It isn't fair.
Especially when people want you to do, like, cover songs.
Yes.
And I'm just like, oh, my gosh, why? I feel like I picked the wrong profession or something. Because even, like, before I was an artist and had to do, like, I had to be in, like, a wedding band to pay bills. Right. I was the worst wedding singer of all time. Like, it took me at least 3 days to learn Uptown Funk, because that's the one song everybody and their mother wanted played at their wedding for some reason. And I'm like, Bruno Mars is just speaking gibberish. Like, none of this makes any sense. Like, it sounds cool, but like, I'm not going to remember Smoother Than a Fresh Jar of Skippy.
Does it say that in the song?
Yes, it does.
Is Skippy a drink?
It's peanut butter.
It's peanut butter. Oh. Like when you open the cap, it's all smooth.
It's all smooth. Yeah. It makes sense. But like my brain is like, why would I ever, when will I ever use this information? So yeah, cover songs, not a vibe. Especially in country music too. Like, you know, if you play a bar, everyone's like, Wagon Wheel. And you're like, yeah. Okay, let me pray that I remember this. But then people are like, you don't know Wagon Wheel? I'm like, it's not that I don't know it. Like, I could sing it for you, but I couldn't sing the verses or like the in between, like the band and then you get to the chorus and I'm like, okay, we got it. Rock me, mama, like a wagon, and then the rest of it is
just have them sing it. That's the hack.
Right.
You guys ready?
That is true. I have done that before.
Oh, yeah.
It is the one time, though, that I did it. I can't remember what song it was, but like people didn't really know the words either. So it was just awkward for all of us, because I didn't know the words and the audience didn't know the words. And I was like,
all just sitting there like vibing out, taking a second like, oh, look, we all don't know.
Yep. All right. I think it was like the bridge to a song or something that I was just like, this is too complicated for me to memorize. And I was like hoping that everybody else knew it and nobody did. So I'm going to remember the song by the time we're done.
Yeah.
How long did you do the wedding band thing for? You got to have some crazy stories from that, I would assume.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I did the most like odd jobs when I first moved here until I like found my place. Like I waited tables, I nannied for people's children. Terrifying. Okay. But then the wedding band, I think I did that for a year. And then I realized that I would just dread weddings. And I was like, weddings are supposed to be fun. And now I'm showing up being all like, love is dead. I hate Uptown Funk. Yeah. Like, if I have to sing At Last one more freaking time, I'm going to lose my shit.
I bet. It just like, so how many times did you play at weddings?
I think I only did 20 weddings total. But yeah, it doesn't sound, it's a lot.
It's a lot. And weddings are just like, I mean, they're so fun to like go to.
They are.
But I've never played a wedding, but I'm assuming that it's like a little stressful because you're playing for someone's like day.
Yes.
And
if you're showing up in like a terrible mood of like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
It really translates to the wedding party.
Right.
For
the vibe is picked up on really fast.
Really fast.
Were you playing by yourself or full band?
No. So every time I would play, it'd be a new group of musicians because Nashville is obviously swimming with talented people. Yeah. And so, but every week would be a different crew basically.
Cool.
So yeah, it was fun in that regard, but I feel like the musicians had more fun than like the singers did because they just got to like play the same thing every week, whereas we had words to memorize.
Right.
Especially if the bride and groom like requested, like if they wanted you to play their first dance, you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's probably the most nerve-wracking
Yes,
thing
I'm like, can we just play the recording?
Honestly.
Yes, I'm like, they're going to remember this forever. Or like the father-daughter dance or the mother-son dance. It's just like this whole new level of anxiety that I hope nobody ever has to experience that.
Right. That's a lot.
It is.
I was asked once to play a proposal, and they wanted me to play this like old like rock ballad that I never even heard the song before.
Nice. Yep.
And I said, there's no way in hell that I'm doing this. Like, I'm not going to butcher this for anyone. No one, I'll press play for you.
Yes.
Like, there's no way that I'm gonna do this.
No, it's the worst kind of pressure. And I think people think like when they ask their friends, like, especially here in town, like, well, you play at our wedding, like, is this meaningful thing?
Yeah.
I would just suggest to not do that to any of your friends. Just don't. If you really love them, just let them go not let them sing
invite
at your wedding.
Them to your wedding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just an invite. Don't make them do anything else.
Right.
And I'm saying this so that all of you out there never ask me to play at your wedding, because I will say yes, but I will be dreading it every second of the time.
And just make sure they bring a lot of chips if you do decide to do it.
Exactly.
And tequila.
Yep. Mm-hmm,
you'll be solid.
At least that part will be solid. Everything else will be trash for sure. Right.
So I don't really know much of your backstory on music and like life. Like, we haven't really ever talked about that. So what like brought you into music or got you into it, and how long you've been playing and stuff?
Well, I started playing piano when I was 6. Okay. My mom taught me. So living with your piano teacher is a tough vibe. Because even if you don't like piano, your teacher lives with you, so knows that you don't practice. And so, yeah, that's how it all started, my music career, being forced to play piano. But I think because of that, you know, a lot of people tell me that they wish they could play piano and that they started, but then they just stopped.
Right.
So looking back, I'm very glad that happened, because I probably wouldn't have kept wanting to play. So music was more of a hobby for me because both my parents were athletes, and so that was kind of the plan for me as well.
Okay.
So I just played a lot of sports growing up, and soccer and volleyball were kind of my 2 things that I was planning on going to college for.
Cool.
But the whole time I played music on the side and was in choir, and but nobody around me was a musician. And where I grew up in Colorado, like, being a songwriter and a performer and all of that, like, that wasn't really a job. Yeah. Like, that was more of a hobby that you had.
Right.
So, but one day, so my dad was a strength and conditioning coach for Major League Baseball. So
wow.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. So lots of traveling, which I love. now. If anything, it set me up for the lifestyle I currently live.
Right.
But the Colorado Rockies, where my dad was coaching, played the Boston Red Sox in the World Series. So we were walking to Fenway Park, and we walked by Berklee College of Music, and I had never heard of this place before. And I was like, oh, let's go in and see what that is, because I just heard music coming from it. And that was the first time I saw that you could like go to college for music, and like all you had to do was learn how to play music. And I was like, why has nobody told me about this? I'm like, this is literally what I've been doing with all my free time. Like I would come home after practice and play piano and write, but I never thought anything of it. Like I sang the national anthems at all of our sporting events, and everyone's like, she's the singer girl, but she's going to go to college, you know? Like,
right.
So this was when I was like, oh, I'm going to go here. And thank goodness I didn't know how competitive it was, because I would have never tried to go. If I had known that it was actually like a big deal, I was just like, oh, music college, like, let's go.
Yeah.
But that was like the only college I applied for.
That's awesome. And you got in.
I did.
Did you go all the way through?
Did not.
Don't blame you. What did you like actually go for? Like what was your
So I got in for singing.
Cool.
And I basically changed my major every semester because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Yeah. And I felt like for a while, I felt a bit like an underdog because I showed up and I was like, yeah, I just, found out about this place. Isn't this awesome? And everyone's like, I've been dreaming of coming here my whole life. And I was like, oh, me too. Yeah. Same. Yep. That's what I meant. Right. So for a while, I was just like, I didn't think I should have been there, Yeah. So I just bounced around to every major trying to figure out what it was that inspired me. And songwriting was the last one I picked. And that's when I realized I was like, well, you don't need a college degree in like performance or songwriting or really anything. So that's when I decided to move to Nashville. Even though I didn't know anybody here, I was like, well, at least I know I want to songwrite, and the best place to learn how to do that is the songwriting capital of the world, which is Nashville.
Right. That's awesome.
What did you take out of that college experience that you did have, though?
Oh, well, I think Berklee taught me how competitive the industry is, because you go from being, like if you grow up in a small town or whatever, everyone's like, you're a star. And then you're like, I am a star. And then you go to a school with everybody's small town stars. And you're like, oh, there are other stars. So if anything, it reminds you that you're not the only one out there that's super gifted. And that's a good thing. But it really helps teach you like how to collaborate with other people and how to even lead a band and like be able to instruct players what you want. And so there were a lot of things that I took away from it, but there's something that just can't, real experience in real life, just being out there and figuring it out. I don't think a college can really teach you how to do that.
Totally. So. What would you say to someone that's like debating like this, like, should I go to college or should I just go after this dream and chase it? Because I went to Belmont too I went for 2 years and dropped out. I was there for the songwriting. And so it was like the same thing. Mm-hmm. I was just like, after the first like probably year, I was like, this is kind of weird. Like, I feel like I almost get more out of like meeting people, writing with them and doing that stuff. And these classes aren't really doing too much for me.
Right. I mean, it's so tough because I feel like everybody's personality is different. I think some people need structure when they learn how to do things, which college definitely gives you that. Totally. And like like a built-in community. But it doesn't, you can still do all those things outside of it. And so if you don't need structure and you kind of like love winging it and just figuring it out as you go, then I wouldn't say you need to go to college for very long. To me, it's just about learning the ground rules of songwriting, because I believe you need to kind of learn the rules first before you break them, just so you know how things work, and then you can start getting creative with it. But if you don't really know like the structure of a song, then I would suggest, putting time into learning that. But
for sure.
otherwise you can create your own community outside of college. And yeah, I guess it depends on what it is you want to go for. I mean, to me, I would probably want to go back to learn production.
Yeah.
Because I co-produced my whole album, but not in a way to where I could sit at a computer and like program snare drum noises for forever.
Right.
Like I need a teacher holding me accountable to doing that, because left to myself, I'd be like, nah.
Yeah, and it's very overwhelming.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
There are so many snare sounds, and I like all of them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, which one do you pick? Like, how do you know? Like, I tried to take a production class when I went to Berklee, and the first project I knew that this was not for me.
Right. That's cool. I didn't even know you went to Berklee. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Look at us music schooling for a little bit. How long did you go?
I think 2.5 years, and then I stayed to save money. I waited tables in Boston to save up to move here to Nashville.
That's cool. Can we just talk about how freakishly talented some people are at these art schools, though? Like, when I first went to Belmont, I was like, oh my God. Like, you got to be kidding me. So, my truck got stolen.
I know. I was going to ask you about that. What's the word?
The current word is that the police are looking for it, and they just now asked me for photos, so I'm going to send them photos of it.
Nice.
And hopefully by the time this actually drops, it'll be found. But yeah, it was the most dramatic like moment ever.
I was going to say, your video, the fact that you...
It was a pan angle of it literally driving off into the moon.
I mean, how are you?
It was like
even
a music video.
At the right? Seriously, when I saw your Instagram of it, I was just like, what are the odds of the timing? Like, how did you, like, were you just out there chilling, or like, did you know that something was amiss and you went out to try to capture them? Or
I just had a weird feeling, you know, like you feel like someone's like looking at you and then you're right.
Yes.
I just had
all
this,
the
like,
time.
I just had this like weird gut feeling, and I looked out the blinds and it's gone. And I'm like, there's no way they towed this, but maybe. So I go outside, but then I hear it coming up Charlotte Pike. So then I like sprint to the edge of the like lawn of the apartment place and whip out my phone. This is like I just want to give a little shout out to Apple for actually working this time, because I feel like anytime there's an instance that I need to take a photo or a video quickly, my phone just doesn't work.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It actually worked very well this time.
We love that for you. Yep.
It flowed, and I got a beautiful pan angle of my truck leaving.
I mean, it was a beautiful shot, if I'm being honest. It was very cinematic, but obviously not an ideal situation for you.
I loved all the comments on your Instagram. People were like, yo, I feel really bad, but this is hilarious.
Yeah, no, it is. It really is. Like,
I mean, was there any instinct to like hop in Ellen's car and be like, we're going after them?
I have my other car. Like, that's not my daily driving car. So we got in it, and I was going to go chase after him, and I called the police. And I'm like, I just pretty much went to everything I've ever heard on episodes of Cops. And I'm like, I'm in pursuit. And he's like, sir, do not pursue. What is your address? I'm like, I'm like telling him my address like as fast as I can. I'm like out of breath. He's like, do not pursue. We'll have someone there as soon as we can. I'm like, all right, I will not pursue. I'll go back home and wait. And honestly, that's my biggest regret in my life right now. Which, yes, the dude could have had a gun.
I was
and
going to say,
Cowboy Western shot me, but I feel like the dude didn't know how hard my truck window is to roll down, so I would have been okay.
For sure.
But
I mean, I love your intense drama of getting in your car and the police being like, don't do that, you idiot. Stay there.
Trying to use words that they understood.
Pursuit.
Like they didn't even speak normal English. Like, I'm just going to speak in the language that they know. Like,
right.
In pursuit. We got a code 678 on Charlotte Pike headed northwest.
That is sad. Yeah, I hope they find it. I feel like it won't be that hard to find, though, because it's like a very specific color.
Yeah.
Very specific model.
Yeah. So many of our friends like shared it too, and I feel like it just like spread out through Nashville there for a second. So if it does come out of like the woodworks, hopefully people like notice it.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah,
I have
hope
faith.
so. Yeah, me too.
My car, when I first moved to Nashville, I leased a car and it got stolen. Like the second month I lived here.
Really?
But they used it as a getaway car because it was found in like the back of some weird Walmart, and they blew my speakers out, which I was so pissed about. So hopefully they don't do that to yours. But I'm saying there's hope because we found it again. I cleaned her up and we were good to go.
Well, good news. Mine does not have any speakers at all. There are instead there are holes in the door, and I don't know if somebody previously stole them or they've just never been there. But there are no speakers. I have to BYOS when I go for a ride in my truck.
Nice.
I have to bring a little Bluetooth.
Okay, well then we're in good shape.
We're in good shape.
Was there anything in the truck that you're like, I hope I get that back? Or?
Honestly, no. So I'm very
okay.
thankful for
Wow.
that.
All right,
so
we are
nothing.
We
Just the whole truck. That's all I need back.
Yeah, just the vehicle.
Just the entire thing.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, do you have anything coming up that is cool? You working on any new projects or anything like that?
Yeah, I've been working on the second album basically since the first one came out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's hard to not write, especially after a year like we had, just being able to process things and a lot of life changes in my life, and I'm sure with everybody. So my way of processing that is writing about it. So
totally.
It's been really, really fun exploring new sounds, and the goal is to always get better. And
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's been great, but new stuff definitely coming out at some point this year. Still figuring out, the timing of everything, but it's been busy for sure.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So this year we can expect the new from
that
Miss
new
Ingrid.
Yes.
That's exciting. Well, we can't wait to hear it, and I'm very thankful that you came on today.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me.
Hung out with me, and hopefully we get to have you back and stuff. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the music, and
Thank you.
Can't wait to hear your new stuff.
Same. Should be an adventure.
Yeah, it should be.
And I hope the truck pops up.
But thank you.
I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled.
By
I don't know.
By the time this airs, it should be back.
Totally.
It's either gonna be my old truck, or I'm gonna have to find a new old truck. Because I miss it.
Yeah, you should.
There's just something really cool about being in an old car on these back roads. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is, but I didn't experience it till like my friend had an old truck. And I was like, wow, this is different.
Yeah.
You just get out and you smell like gas.
Yeah, love that for sure.
Yeah. you probably wouldn't know about that because you don't have any gas.
I was gonna say. Ooh, that was spicy.
That was my Mini Cooper burn.
That was pretty hot. You right though. Yeah, I don't smell like gas, and who knows if I might be stuck here with you.
That's okay.
After this,
I can give you a ride.
Oh, thanks.
But thanks again. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time.